I, a 25-year-old man, heard my 23-year-old girlfriend and her sister refer to me as unattractive. Unable to move past it. Background: I've been dating my girlfriend for a little over a year. She is a very generous individual. When I first met her, I was having a lot of trouble with low self-esteem, and she was a huge help in my recovery. She never stops telling me how lovely, handsome, and cute she finds me to be. She compliments me on myself every single day. I distinctly recall telling her that she is the first person who has ever given me a praise without any prompting or explanation. That gives me a great sense of self-worth, especially when it comes from her. She always manages to make me feel good about myself or to playfully compliment me. She stated that I was really cute before we were even dating, and I playfully responded, "You might think so, but I don't agree." She grinned and said, "Shut up, you're cute because I said so, and I have great taste in guys." Thank you. Just so you know, I don't usually talk about myself in this way. I'm not the type of person who constantly tells their significant other how much more attractive they are, huh? Although I am aware that appearances don't matter, my partner is a social media model. I was first a little nervous about being with a girl who was so sought after. She occasionally shares photos of the two of us on social media because she is not bashful about our connection. Every time she does, she switches off the comments because in the past, she's received cruel remarks about how ugly I am and that she's too beautiful to be with me. However, after spending some time with her, she gave me the impression that I didn't need to worry about it. I had my first encounter with her sister approximately a week ago. We were having a great time at her sister's apartment. I eventually had to use the restroom, so I excused myself. I entered the restroom after walking down the corridor. I immediately became aware that even in the restroom, I could still hear them. I initially found it amusing that perhaps my girlfriend would say something amusing or awkward that we could discuss later. However, her sister began chatting about me. She said that while I was lovely, my girlfriend should get over her game and find a real partner. Though I wasn't concerned, I felt that we were getting along, which damaged my feelings. There was nothing to worry about because I knew what my girlfriend thought of me. However, her sister would not stop raving about how ugly I was, and they would giggle together. Even when my girlfriend was yelling, "Shut up, I hate you, you're so mean," she couldn't stop laughing. Then her sister responded, "Go ahead and date your ugly boy," and she said, "I will." After that, the topic changed, and I ended up in the restroom. She added something like, "Listen, he may be ugly, but who cares? He's sweet, and he makes me happy, and the sex is great." For the remainder of the evening, I felt strange, but I kept my mouth shut. I assured my girlfriend I was alright when she noticed and asked how I was doing. I know the chat wasn't even meant for me to hear, but she truly hurt my feelings when she said, "I was talking about mentally, not physically, silly." "Hey, I overheard your private conversation with your sister, and I know you think I'm ugly," was what I was going to say. I know she doesn't mean it now, but the longer I go without saying anything, the stranger it feels when she compliments me every day. It seems more like she knows how low my self-esteem is and feels sorry for me, so she tried to make up for it by showering me with meaningless praises every day. I simply want things to feel right again since they feel strange right now. That's unfortunate, of course, but I have to admit that I think your partner finds you appealing. Yes, I am aware that she called you ugly during that exchange with her sister, but I believe it was an inadvertent mistake given that she was defending you against her. Opie, all you have to do is speak with her and be sincere. Tell her what transpired, how you feel strange and upset, that the walls are thin, and that you heard what her sister was saying and how she responded. It has to be better than how you're feeling right now, even though I'm not sure if anything she says would make things right and make you feel wonderful again. Thus, yes, you need to speak. And honestly, what are your thoughts, guys? What guidance would you provide Opie? Tell me in the space provided for comments. Let's now see what the community has to say by reading through their comments. According to Eric Stars, I see it as your girlfriend saying to her sister, "Listen, he may be whatever you say and think he is, but he's sweet, etc., etc., rather than thinking you're ugly." She clearly loves you, and I always believe that when you love someone, they are beautiful to you regardless of what everyone else thinks, which seems to be the case for your girlfriend. Talk to her about what you heard so this doesn't eat away at you for no reason. Hey cowboy, he says, quote, I wasn't eavesdropping, but I heard you call me ugly when I went to the bathroom the other day. That hurt my feelings. Can you tell me why you said that? End quote. I swear this sub wouldn't exist if people were able to have simple conversations with their partners. According to Tech Singer, if you quoted her accurately, it doesn't sound like she actually agreed with her sister. It seemed more like, you may think he's ugly, but... And she went on to say some very complimentary things about you. So why not start from that perspective and then tell her you couldn't help but overhear what her sister said about you? If you allow this to eat away at your relationship, then her sister wins. She was doing her best to convince your girlfriend that she is too good for you. Your girlfriend is a good person because she stuck up for you, even if she didn't do it in a highly confrontational way. It's her sister, give her a break. Honestly, I think people who are not drop-dead gorgeous have a real advantage over the others. When someone shows an interest in you, it's because they see beyond your looks and your imperfections. They see who you really are, and that's a lot better than being loved or admired for your good looks. Alright, well, there's no need to repeat that because my analysis largely agrees with what the community has to say. Okay, let's continue with the update. I was unable to respond to everyone since I was so overwhelmed by the amount of input. I would like to express my gratitude for all of your suggestions and for giving me the confidence to speak up. After reading through all of your comments, I decided that talking to her about it would be the best course of action. I'm pleased I did. She said that she didn't think I was ugly when I inquired. I asked her why she said it if she didn't mean it after informing her that I had overheard her talking to her sister and that she had called me ugly. She talked a great deal, but 4 points stood out to me, so I thought I would post them here. 1. She was giggling at how absurd she thought the whole thing was. She wasn't laughing because she found her sister funny, rather, she was laughing because her sister genuinely believed it was acceptable to make fun of me while I was walking down the hall, telling my girlfriend to dump me even though she knew I loved her, making very inappropriate remarks in passing, and acting so blatantly shallow. She expressed that she thought her sister was behaving like a villain from a cartoon. Does this qualify as tense laughter? 2. She wished it had been recorded on camera rather than just audibly so I could have seen her reactions and watched her step away from her sister to gather herself before cutting the call. 3. Since her sister and she have quite diverse perspectives on relationships and differ greatly in our areas of attraction, she no longer truly debates with her sister about her relationships. Whereas my girlfriend views me as a partner, her sister views her boyfriend as an accessory. She no longer challenges her on this since it appears that they have previously argued over it and never came to an agreement. 4. She was being passive-aggressive when she said, listen, he may be ugly, but who cares? He's sweet and makes me happy, and the sex is great. She informed me that her sister constantly contacts her to bemoan her boyfriend's rudeness, how he occasionally makes her miserable, and how horrible the sex is. She claimed that in an attempt to avoid starting a fight because she was unaware of when I would return from the restroom, she was trying to say something along the lines of, you might think my boyfriend is ugly, but at least he knows how to have sex and treat me right, which are two things that your boyfriend is incapable of doing. She effectively silenced her sister with it. She has apologized and shown regret on several occasions, and she felt terrible about it, I should also mention. She acknowledged that the way she expressed things should have been different, but she didn't mean any harm. Glad we were able to discuss it. Things feel so much better now. However, I don't suppose I'll be in contact with her sister very much. I will consider this to be a happy update. OP, speaking with your girlfriend was undoubtedly the appropriate course of action because there was much more to the tale than what you were told. Well done. You may now appreciate your relationship as you are aware of and comprehend its entire context. Fantastic, OP. I want the best for you. Let's proceed to the following post now. The user Adept Yard posted this on the People subreddit under the subject Vegan Roommate Steals Food and Acts Like She Is the Victim. Currently, I, a man 21 years old, am a second-year student living in a dorm with 3 other persons, all of whom have fictitious names: Dan, 20 years old, Max, 19 years old, and Olivia, 20 years old. We all have a kitchen, a living area, and naturally, a refrigerator. We sort of share the rest of the fridge and each have a shelf for our belongings. I am currently the sole member of our group without any dietary restrictions. Dan has a gluten sensitivity, Olivia chooses to be vegan, and Max is primarily vegetarian due to a number of allergies and health issues. Max and I are close friends who are enrolled in the same major. Max discovered that some of his food kept getting relocated to Olivia's shelf when we initially moved in. Max asked me to question Olivia about it because he suffers from severe social anxiety and finds it difficult to handle disagreement. When I did, she claimed that, given her veganism, she assumed we had purchased the meal for her. Max is a vegetarian, I stated. I didn't think it was my place to inform people about his medical concerns, so I just stated that he is a vegetarian. She put his meal back and apologized, looking delighted to have someone else who could relate. All was well over the next couple weeks. She did occasionally become a little aggressive with Max, claiming things like how simple it would be to just quit eating milk and eggs and that meat is the difficult part. We all decided to have takeout yesterday, and we got Chinese. We grabbed a share for the group and one for Max specifically because there is a beef-based meal that Max loves to eat. We took a seat and got to eating. Olivia went to fetch some when she noticed Max consuming the plate. She was abruptly halted by Max, who informed her that it included beef. She blinked a few times while she sat there, then she asked, why was he eating it? Max then shyly said, I can eat this dish. She began to yell that he was not allowed to deviate from his vegetarian and veganism when he felt like it. Max reveals that he has medical reasons for being a vegetarian. Olivia swiftly loaded her plate and left for her room after telling them he shouldn't refer to himself as a vegetarian. Olivia wouldn't talk to anyone today and would have left the room if Max entered. Max was obviously angry. I couldn't guarantee Olivia wouldn't yell again, so I asked Dan to take him somewhere while I spoke to her. After they departed, I went to Olivia's door and begged to speak with her. I told her that the way she's been treating Max is unacceptable when she allowed me in. She claimed to have been deceived. She believed she had a companion who shared her concerns. I reassured her that while it's not Max's fault, it's acceptable to feel that way, and that what she's doing is wrong. She became enraged and yelled at me, accusing Max of stealing the term vegetarian and drawing comparisons to hate crimes. I immediately closed that and went to meet Dan and Max at the arcade. The place was a disaster when Dan, Max, and I returned. Max's belongings had been tossed into the living room. In addition, some of his damaged games and medical supplies were included. Opened meat products were discarded in the garbage. I believe she tipped the empty milk cartons because there were full ones in the sink. Everything that was vegan-friendly, which included most of Max's food and part of Dan's, was also gone from her fridge shelf. Her room and Max's room were adjacent to each other, with 2 rooms on one side and 2 rooms on the other. Max was crying by the time we called our RA, so it's likely that she was incredibly kind and composed. It wasn't suitable, so she stated she would talk to Olivia and probably have her relocated. We hope to see her relocated. She has not returned as of yet. We just finished putting up a fusion just in case and transferring Max's belongings into Dan's room today. We just finished shopping for groceries a few days ago, so we don't really have enough cash to replace anything. Apologies, that was a little too long. Whoa, Opie, your roommate sounds like such a tool and a jerk. Get her out of your flat immediately. It's not that she's vegan, it's just that she looks awful. Her entire strategy in any type of disagreement seems to be to shout out her point of view. Indeed, that's a great quality in a roommate or in any relationship, really, that you should search for. Furthermore, I won't even get into the absurdity of hate crimes. In any case, let's quickly review the feedback from the community before continuing with the update. As intelligent as a seahorse, wow, she sounds awful. She should have to pay for all the food she destroyed and the medical supplies. What a jerk. Puzzled 65 asks, how is this not worthy of calling police? She destroyed personal property of another person, vandalized the living area, destroyed food, and that medical equipment alone should be worthy of being paid for by her. But for sure, your food too. Hope you don't let her get away with this. Anxious Rubik's Cuber responds, glad you shut down that hate crime part. She sounds like a nightmare to deal with, and in no way is Max responsible for not telling her he's a vegetarian for medical reasons. His medical history is none of her business. She is in no way the victim here, and trying to force others into her eating style will only dissuade them from becoming vegan. If they don't move her, then begin to keep extremely detailed track of everything she does that you consider intrusive or harmful to your living environment, stealing your food, harassing Max or you or Dan, intruding on your space, taking your things without permission. Eventually, with enough complaints, they'll have to move her out. Hopefully, good luck, Opie. Yes, I wholeheartedly concur with all that the community has said thus far. Let's continue with the update and examine Opie's and his pals' response to this circumstance. First of all, I want to thank you for all of your suggestions. Regretfully, we did not take pictures of the mess after we cleaned it up, but we did take images of the damage, and the RA is essentially a witness because she noticed the mess and the damage before we did. Olivia attempted to return, but we stopped her with the RA's assistance. We threatened to file a police report until she replaced everything, we informed her. She broke down and said that although she didn't want us to contact the police, she was a vegan and couldn't purchase animal goods. She cried and screamed before agreeing to send the money to pay for the meals and the broken things. It totaled several thousand. Fortunately, although not excellent, healthcare costs are reasonable in this area. The RA videotaped us as we packed her belongings, and she grudgingly gave us the key to her room. All of the missing food was in a mini fridge that we discovered. She took a long time to pout and try to make us feel horrible after being allowed inside to grab her belongings. When that failed, she became combative and belligerent. After she threw slurs, Dan, Max, and the resident assistant requested that she be taken out by campus security. She did try to play the big scary man who was bullying her for being vegan, as some of you had predicted, but that doesn't really hold up when these big scary men are either 5'5", stick thin, dance majors like Dan or 5'3" trans guys who are so anxious that they feel like their stomachs will burst if they eat meat, like Max. And that's not even close to what he claims happens. Once more, I want to thank everyone for their suggestions, comments, and even financial offers. It was brought up that there is a student food bank, and that since medical needs come first, we can get some access to it if we don't have enough. Olivia is also prohibited from entering any student residences or on-campus lodging, even if she is not suspended. Well, goodbye to Olivia and her strange, insane personality. That you folks live in a toxic-free apartment is wonderful to hear. I hope everything works out for you and your housemates. Be careful. And now that the finish is in sight, it's that moment.